I just want to do a quick kind of series of questions. How many people here the first time for Mobile Monday? How many people have been in the past to a Mobile Monday? All right, so I have some explaining to do. So the group here in New York has been around for almost 10 years. And last June, there was a couple of folks that were running it, also have startups, and decided to kind of like hand it over. So I live in San Francisco, but the cool thing is that I've been curating events just like this, Mobile Monday, for 17 years. So since '99, been doing it in Seattle, Los Angeles, and Silicon Valley. And very happy to be doing this in New York now. It's just kind of fun. And it's also my inexpensive hobby. So tonight on the programming, we'll have a DevLab session. So you're pretty much at our DevLab. We'll throw some code up on the wall a little bit. We'll show you some new tools. And then we'll finish the evening with 6 demos on some amazing startups that are here, located here in Silicon Alley. For people that are tweeting, hashtag MobileMonday, StrongLoop, and Samsung Excel are all welcomed, and we appreciate the social media love. Again, I'm Mario Tapia, so I curate this same kind of group in Silicon Valley and also Los Angeles. And so I've been working that for the last year. And so pretty much, I think 2 weeks ago, we had the same type of session in Santa Monica. And then in August 1st, we'll have the same replica of the event in Silicon Valley, along with some other typical tech events. So the agenda for tonight is, I should go over the welcome. We'll have an overview of a couple of slides here. Raymond from IBM will give a presentation on StrongLoop, and then we'll head up into the demos, and then for some more networking. So here are the 3 different cities, and also there's about 30,000 folks that I kind of reach out to every week. So how many people are getting my spammy newsletter? How many people found us on meetup.com? Who found us on Eventbrite? How many people found us? I found it. How about a Facebook share? Did somebody people Facebook share? Someone shared it? Okay, cool. I'm just trying to gauge like where to find the people. Cool. So Mobile Monday, founded in 2001, and we're 140 cities worldwide. So from Tokyo to Tel Aviv. How many people have been to a Mobile Monday in a different city? Outside the US? Wow. Okay. So yeah, so if you're on travel, if you're in Tel Aviv, it's Mobile Monday happening probably tonight. If you're in Tokyo, same way, Berlin, London, Paris. Typically from the community stats, about a third of you are product and marketing. But for tonight, I'm curious, how many people here write code? All right, cool. People on product and marketing. And business development, sales. Are there any, okay, the unicorns, the designers. We will design. See, yeah. Hey, Chris. See, it's cool. Any investors? No, investors? Media bloggers? So a little bit about what we do. So this is our lab event. We also do a monthly topic. So 2 weeks from tonight, we'll be at Tumblr. If you find us on Meetup, the event's there. It's also on Eventbrite if you find us on Eventbrite, and also it's on the newsletter that I send out. We'll be doing, it's an ad tech panel discussion with a couple of agencies and a couple of tech companies talking about paid acquisition, which is very different. We hear today about mobile growth, growth hacking, not paying for downloads, and this is really a discussion on paying for users. How should I be spending my money? So it'll be a really good event if you guys are interested in acquiring users and paying for them. And then we also do roundtable dinners, and you guys can talk to me about that later. But basically, we do VIP roundtable dinners. Most of the stuff I've been focusing here in New York has been ad tech, so it's been brands and agencies, roundtable dinner discussions. Here's some of our corporate sponsors. So we can't do this without your corporate help. And also where to find us, mobilemonday.us. You'll also find us on Meetup, and then I'll post this on YouTube, and I have about 6 other years of meetups recorded, so we have about 70. So if you guys are interested in any topic from IoT to ad tech to gaming, etc., and also if you're a founder trying to find investment, what do investors really look for? find a lot of content there. MobileMonday.sv. But also, I'd like to give a round of applause to our sponsors, IBM, StrongLoop, and also Samsung Accelerator. If you guys can give them a big round of applause for them. Thank you guys. And if you guys want to reach out to them, they're at StrongLoop and also at Samsung. But also, you kind of want to know, like, where are we? What is this space? How many people have been first time at Samsung Accelerator? All right, cool. We have great air conditioning, don't they? So, I'd like to introduce Mari, who is also, she's not with the Samsung Accelerator staff. She's actually a CEO and founder of her own company, and she's here to also share a little bit about the space. And yes,
Thanks, Mario, and welcome everybody to the Samsung Accelerator. So I am Mari Yolder, I'm founder and CEO of Scarlett, which is one of the Samsung Accelerator portfolio companies. We're building a new kind of intelligent assistant. So her name is Scarlett with one T. And our mission is to remove a lot of the information noise in your day. So instead of you having to ask your assistant more questions and figure out when you're already drowning in information, we are taking a look through, the data and the services you give us access to, and just really pulling out the most important pieces and giving you those snapshots of information, kind of like a human would. So imagine the stereotype of the assistant who used to tap on your door and say, "Good morning, this is what your day looks like. Here's what you have on your calendar. Here's the news headlines." So that's what we're doing. We're available on iOS and Android, and you can learn more at scarlettspeaking.com. Really excited to have you guys here tonight. Also, personally very excited to see what's in store, because actually our stack is a meme stack, so our backend is Node. We consume and integrate and work with a lot of third-party APIs. We are also hiring, so if you're folks here, I know a lot of hands went up when the question was asked of who codes. So we have a senior full stack and also mobile position open. So if you do Node and you like working with APIs and you want to build a new kind of intelligent assistant, please let me know. Come find me or email me at mari@samsungaccelerator.com. I think Mari did a really great job just explaining what the Samsung Accelerator is, but just from a perspective of a founder. Samsung Accelerator provides strategic capital, operation, and product support for seasoned entrepreneurs to build world-class software. So there's a couple of strategic areas that we focus on. One is AI, other one is virtual reality, another one is IoT, also general consumer and payments technologies for mobile, TV, and also wearables. And we're part of a larger group which is called the Global Innovation Center, which also houses acquisitions, investments, and other kind of entrepreneurial aspects of Samsung. And it's really designed to support entrepreneurs, through different phases of their product development, whether it's getting your first round, getting off to a start, or looking at deep collaboration or even acquisitions by Samsung. So with that said, have a great evening, everybody. Enjoy, and if you have any questions, write to hello@Samsung Accelerator or to me at Mari@Samsung Accelerator. Thanks again.
Hi everybody. As a warning, I tend to move around a lot and get into your face. There will be a lot of code today and a lot of cat pictures, so I apologize to the non-devs in the audience. This is normal, so it's okay, nothing to be afraid of. My name is Raymond Camden. I work for IBM, so please pretend that I'm wearing a tie underneath the Jedi robes. I am, I promise. No, I wear a tie pretty much for weddings and funerals. I have to go online to find out how to tie a tie. I work in a lot of areas. I've been in IBM for about 2 years. My primary focus was mobile, and now I'm doing more Node.js stuff, which is great because that pairs well with doing mobile dev as well. I've done a lot with Apache Cordova. Any Apache Cordova users? Am I the only one doing hybrid mobile? Phone gap? One person. I love you. All right. Well, if you don't know what that is, come see me afterwards, and I'll let you. I'll give you a quick demo of that. But if you know how to do the web, hybrid mobile techs allow you to use the web to build mobile apps. So it's a great way to avoid having to write Objective-C. Not that there's anything wrong with Objective-C besides Objective-C itself, but it's a great technology. I blog at raymondcamden.com. If you have any questions about this or anything else that I don't get a chance to answer or you can't find me later, I have a contact form on there. Just drop me a line. A lot of my blog entries is based on people asking me questions, so you won't be bothering me asking me how to do X, Y, and Z and whatever technology I talk about today. And definitely, since you all have the Wi-Fi password, hop on Twitter and follow me at Raymond Camden, where all of my tweets are very serious IBM enterprise grade related content. Nothing silly or Star Wars related at all. Maybe a little bit. So before we start talking about this, I thought it would make sense to talk just a tiny bit about why we care about APIs. Generally, whenever I'm preparing to do a presentation, there's always that stuff. I can tell you, before the iPhone, my idea of a cool phone was the Motorola Razr. Anyone else use it? It was so slick. I can remember the first time I got a text message, I was so like, oh, this is awesome. I got a message. And then I replied, and I was like, I'm never doing this again. That was my first and last text message. Anyway, so why Node? Well, Node is especially well built for doing lightweight applications. And by the way, if I see I'm on this side primarily, if I'm blocking the content, just tell me to move, it's okay. I spent a long time working with a technology called Cold Fusion. Anybody? You people, one person, all right, I love you too. That's a very powerful but very kind of heavy application server. And Node.js in comparison is extremely lightweight, basically 500 megs of RAM versus 1K or so. So it's really appealing to someone like me to be able to build something a lot smaller and also very highly performant. And the biggest thing is that I'd already been doing JavaScript. Now obviously it's not the exact same as what you're doing on the client side, but being able to kind of stay in the same mental model when I'm doing client-side dev and server-side dev and not having to think, oh, this is Python, so spaces matter, weird stuff like that. No, it's just JavaScript, that's perfect, right? So I like that. So I do have a confession to make. I mentioned that I spent a long time doing Cold Fusion. And when I first started to hear about Node and going to meetings like this, I would attend sessions, Introduction to Node.js. Tell me if you were in this session. You go and like, hey, here's Node, you install it, and we're going to write our first Node app, and it's going to be a web server. I'm the only person who said, yeah. So most of my intro to Node sessions were building a web server, and that was extremely like off-putting. Like no one wants to do that. I felt bad saying that. Like, am I allowed to say I don't want to write a freaking web server in Node.js to actually get stuff done? And what happened after a year or two of me sitting in sessions and saying, no way, I encountered Express. So I assume probably there's a good chunk of people here familiar with Express. If you're not, Express is essentially an open source framework that runs in Node.js that does all the kind of boilerplate web crap that you don't want to do. So it allows you to actually build a website and kind of focus on what I'm doing. So for example, show all the cats in New York City, show all the cats that are going to bite me, etc. The actual parts of the application are more focused on that logic than saying, oh, this is a web request, so I need to send status 200 or something BS like that. So I had the same kind of revelation when I first looked at Loopback. So IBM bought a company called StrongLoop last fall or so, and this was done by people way, way above me. And I was bored at work, and I heard that we bought this company. And I began to look at this technology, Loopback.io, that was an open source framework that this company had worked on for a long time. So I began looking at it, and what I saw is that it was really kind of focused on building APIs, and it was really a rapid kind of API integration system. What's very cool about this, and hopefully you'll see when I actually start typing stuff, is that it is extremely rapid. So as someone who primarily builds mobile apps, being able to kind of rapidly do the kind of boring back-end API stuff is pretty compelling. It also has a simple ORM system. I know that ORM is kind of a bad word. Anyone here use Hibernate? Anyone here use Hibernate once and ran away? Yeah, so ORM, for those of you who don't know it, is basically a database abstraction layer because nobody wants to write SQL anymore. And Hibernate, at least for me, was one of those things that sounds really good on day one. And you do the intro class and it's awesome. And then day two is like, oh my God, what have I done? This is a horrible mistake. So a lot of people hear ORM and kind of run away, but essentially all the API stuff that you'll see, working with data, creating, searching, and all that, obviously we're not just building APIs nowadays. We also have to build a website every now and then, or a web app. And we can use that same kind of rapid API creation to power all of that as well. It has support for JS applications. We have an Angular JS library. I just throw that out there because we market it. You don't have to use it. You can still use Angular JS and write your own code for it. And you're also allowed to write jQuery. It runs insecure, so you can rapidly test what you're doing. Keep in mind that every single thing I'm showing today can be locked down in a very, very granular way. You'll see an example a bit later. More data at loopback.io, including docs and all that fun stuff. And in terms of getting started, installation. You get Node Package Manager. If you're going to do a Node API framework, you have to have Node already, so I assume you have NPM. Install Node.js, npm install -v StrongLoop. Once you have that, the actual command line you get is SLC. I love npm. It's a great tool, but I'm always confused when I install foo and the command line is goo. I always wish that they were the exact same. Once you have it, you can do SLC, which is at the command line. It does work everywhere. It's JavaScript, so if you're on Windows, no problem, outside of being on Windows, or Mac, etc. In terms of creating an application, you run SLC loopback, you follow the prompts, and that's it. So I'm going to show you a quick example of this, and hopefully I won't fat finger this too much while I type. SLC, that's tiny, and I'm actually blocking. I'm going to do this. And do this. And you guys tell me when you can read it. That's okay. SLC loopback. Now these are all prompts for things like the application name. New York City is hotter than I expected. Please don't name your applications that long.
Your prompt is kind of low on the screen.
Oh. Thank you. Give me, come on. There we go. And how's that? A little bit smaller. How's that? So basically, if you can't read down here, there's a couple of templates that come with the higher. I will try to go one more level higher. All right, how about,
scroll down.
What's that?
Scroll down. Scroll down.
I am at the bottom. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so all it's asking here basically are 4 basic templates that will dictate what gets spit out. The first one is just nice sample information. Take all the defaults and then go to town. Now it's going to use npm to fetch all it needs. By the way, if you're a software developer and you're using npm as part of your command line project, as a fun experiment, I encourage you, fly to Australia. Serious, I'm serious, fly to Australia, run your command line. It's a whole different experience. I do a lot with Ionic, which is a very cool mobile framework, and it's all NPM driven as well, and it's about 5 times slower just because of all the bits going over the sea and all that. So one of the first things I did after doing multiple presentations down there was to send them a bug report saying you should consider like caching stuff locally for people who may be on the wrong side of the planet. I'm sorry, the other side of the planet, very nice. So I have the application, I'm going to go into it and just kind of show you real quick what's in here, and that's incredibly tiny. We'll do that and make it nice and fat. And all I have here is a client folder that's totally empty, but if you want to put your client-side application in there, you can. Node modules, obviously, is all the core framework stuff. And the server is the actual application, actual API server that's going to run. Loopback runs on top of Express, which is good. So you can use Express to handle, like, if you're doing documentation for your APIs, or again, if you have an old school, simple web app that runs alongside your APIs, that is where you would go in and do your normal Express type stuff. Build your routes, use your template language, go to town. If I go in here and just do node dot to fire it up, it's going to do two things for me. It's firing up the web server, and it's also firing up something that's down here that says browse your REST API at localhost 3000 Explorer. So I'll show you just the website first, and then it's tiny. And all this is just out of the box default code that says my home page is how long the application's been up. And again, this is an Express app, so you can make a nice, pretty hello world. My company is Uber for cats, blah, blah, blah. The exciting part is the Explorer. That's really big, so I'll make it a little bit smaller. And what you're seeing here out of the box is automatic API documentation and a testing tool for your APIs. We don't really have an API yet. User is actually kind of baked in, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a second. But before we actually build the API, let's talk a bit about how it works. So Loopback has a model framework. And essentially what that means is for my APIs, I'm going to create a model that defines basically what I'm working with. So for example, I've been talking about find all the cats in New York City. So I may have a model called cat that represents what makes up a cat. So breed, gender, age, how mean they are, etc. So I will essentially describe that, and Loopback will take that model and actually build the API from that. Now I can also get real fancy and do inheritance, so I can build a model for animal and say cat extends animal and go to town. I can also do the full set of relationships. So cat has a owner, owner has a cat, cat has multiple wounds to my skin, etc. You can get as crazy and as complex as you would like. And out of the box, once you define the model, you essentially have everything. And you'll see an example in a few seconds, but you'll have an API to create cats, to read cats, to update, delete. All that really boring database persistence stuff is built for you out of the box, including a full query search system. So I want to find all the cats that are male, that are less than 5 years old, and are breed so-and-so. I don't have to build any of that search logic. It's just baked in. So we'll actually make this work. I'm going to kill the server. Is that still too low? Like a little bit higher? You do SLC loopback model. And by the way, everything I'm doing here, SLC, will be a flat file. So if you don't like doing command line stuff, you can actually use your editor too. And I'll show you the file that this will make in a few seconds. Is that too low to be usable at all? Be honest, it's okay, I can take it. Can anyone in the back see this? Let me just try one more time. Is that getting there? All right, so our model will be cat. Data source I'll talk about in a minute, but this is basically where it's persisting to. The defaults will supposed to be a REST API. The plural of cat is awesome. We'll keep the defaults. And at this point, it's asking me for properties. So we'll give cats a name. There'll be a string and required. And we'll give it an age. That will be a number. Make that required as well. And then finally, let's say, friendly. That will be a boolean. And done. So again, this made a physical file. I'll show you the file in a few seconds. But once I'm done actually defining this model, I can fire up my node server again, come back, and now I have a cat API. I can go in here, and I'm done. Obviously, there's the devil in the details. There's all the custom stuff, but that full CRUD is done. So if I'm focused on building a mobile app that works with cats, and I need a backend server to actually test, fetching and creating and all that, I'm done. So I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna make a cat, and I'm using this. Obviously, I could write curl commands, and they actually give you examples of that. I could use Postman, which is a Chrome extension for working with REST APIs. I could go in my browser and do some of this as well. But in this case, I'm just going to make a new cat, and we will call him Elvis, age of 9, and friendly, and just hit try it out. And I see all the headers, and it's made a cat, gave it an ID automatically. I can repeat this one more time, make a new cat called Sinatra. Sinatra, age 12, definitely not friendly. Run it, animate a cat again. And if I go up to Git, I can actually see fetching that data. And it's just the 2 cats I made. If I copy this out, don't worry about that access token. That's actually not supposed to be there. Because it's just a REST API, I can request it in my browser. So if I'm writing my mobile app now, I do a GET request to that URL, and I'm done. And again, the full set of deletes, updating. If I want to filter where friendly equals true, if I type this live, I'm going to fail. Oh no, I won't. Thank you, autocomplete. That's really hard to read, but it's question mark, filter, bracket, where, bracket, friendly equals true. I'll show a shorthand and make that a bit easier as well. Any questions so far? Seems magical. I mentioned that this was a file, so I'll just show that real quick. And essentially, it's a JSON file. So if I type out a property, like if I had said age as AGX or whatever, I don't have to go in the command line to fix. I can go in here and change it. If I want to add a property, I can just copy and paste that. Yes?
How do you deal with versioning? Say you want to have different versions of your model.
So his question was, how would you deal with different versions of your model or your API in general? Right now, you would run different versions of the app. Just fire up one for V1 versus V2. I don't know if we have a nicer solution, like have both models in the same folder and all that. But for right now, you would just run two separate servers to support the different APIs.
Okay.
And all of this stuff, like the type and all that, it's all documented. They just released, I forget his name, but if you use an editor that supports the name of JSON schema, there's a JSON schema system where you get autocomplete in your JSON files, and Visual Studio Code supports it amongst other editors as well. But you can actually get autocomplete for this stuff while you type. It's pretty cool. And I mentioned this was all Express, so if I'm going to go in here and start messing around, I could do that. Yes?
Sorry, just along with the versioning, does it take care of database migrations? Just let's say you weren't maintaining previous versions, just if you want to make an update, but you already have deployed code.
No, but so I'm talking about the persistence in like 1 second. Okay. So let me get to that. But it's still kind of no. Let me show how it persists, and then we can talk a bit more about migration. Yes?
Is there any kind of integrated support for allowing a user to create a document and only access documents that they created, so attribution?
Security?
Yeah.
Heck no, no security at all.
Gotcha.
No, there's full support. Again, out of the box, the thinking is that I'm the developer, I'm kind of rapidly iterating and testing, so everything is willy-nilly, do as you want. There's a 100% fine-grained control security model that's like the slide after the persistent stuff. Or either or. Both those questions, thank you, I'll give you your bribe later, but you will see an example of that. I need you guys at all my conferences, please. So, data sources. This is the loopback term for how it deals with persistence. Essentially, is where all that data goes. So you saw me make cats, and you saw them being fetched, so where are they? They're also called connectors. There are connectors for a variety of different database systems. You see NoSQL along with regular, what's the opposite of NoSQL? I guess it's SQL. Everything here except for Microsoft Access, which I'm probably the only fan of. And by the way, the data source system is actually an API, which means it's pluggable. So if tomorrow Microsoft releases their new SQL Server product called SQL Server Cats, and it's totally different, because there's an API for defining how loopback talks to a persistence layer, you can just write it and you're done. As a real-world practical example of this is on our blog. A client comes in and says, we have data in MySQL and also a CSV file, which is horrible, but that happens, right? And to make it more horrible, it wasn't even just one CSV file, it was multiple CSV files. So the logic to get data for like a product was talk to MySQL, and if the product ID begins with 1 through 3, look at the CSV file called 1.csv, which again is stupid, but in the real world stuff like that happens. Because Loopback has this open API for it, you tell me how to persist, all that stupidness was just hidden away. The REST API was just as nice as I saw, like Fetch products. You had no idea it was doing dumb stuff behind the scenes. When the client upgrades to a real persistence system in the future, the API just stays the same. Now, in terms of migration, you can migrate data. I haven't tried it myself because I have a dim view of how well that would work. If I was doing a new project, I would probably launch or start with what the client wants in general. They want MySQL, I'd work with MySQL. It can create tables for you, it can create columns, and you can control how that's created. Or if the tables already exist, you can say, like, I have products, but because it's Oracle and it's $1 million DB, it's only 8 letters, so it has to be PRD underscore, etc. I can define how it talks to the back end. Does that make sense?
It does. So you said it can create tables. What you're saying, like in terms of production, you probably shouldn't be relying on this system to create your tables. You should use some other system of migrating, create new tables, and create new columns.
Yeah, I would not create something new in production, or I would do it very carefully. In general, I would not let Loopback make tables if I had existing data already. Just not because it's failing, I just have a dim view of that happening without my explicit control.
Migrations are hard.
Yes. Non-trivial, as they say. Like landing on the moon was a non-trivial problem. The way that you work with a persistent system, Loopback does not give you all of them out of the box because that would just be a bit too much. So you'll do one more npm to install that particular package. And again, you can roll your own. By the way, this memory system, that's the one that I was using. That's what you get out of the box. It's RAM-based, so it's great for testing. If I were to kill my server right now, it would all go away. There's a one-line configuration that you can change to tell it to write to a file. Now, you would not go into production with that, but during testing, if you're doing a lot of reloading or using something like NodeMod, it's a great way to not lose all your test data while you're iterating. So just as a quick example, I won't actually set up Mongo, but I just want to show you where this is all defined. There's a JSON file called datasources.json. There's a name and there's a connector. So if I want to start working with MySQL, it's 2 steps. I go install the npm package for MySQL support. I define a new data source. I give it a name, whatever in the heck that makes sense to me. And the last thing I would do is that there is a file called model.config, which connects a model, that's still probably a little bit too low, a model to a data source. So you actually have an application that was doing MySQL, memory, Oracle. You could mix it up crazy if you want. I don't recommend that, but you could do that. So, security, again, thank you for asking those questions. So, again, by default, everything is open. That's not how you would go into production. It's very useful when you're starting up. That went too fast. All right, come on, just a PDF. You can handle it, really. It's a PDF, Matt. All right, so there are security models built in. So I just built a cat model. the entire security system is using the exact same type of APIs, the same type of models. Core thing is called an access control list. Essentially, an ACL, which says this type of user is allowed to do this type of thing with this type of data. What I just said. You can group users into roles. What's also really nice is that out of the box, you also get support for the idea of an unknown user versus just any logged in user. I've been doing web apps for 20 years, and I've used roles maybe one time out of 100 or so. In almost every case, it's if the user can log in, they're an admin. I think that's pretty common in a lot of security systems. There's the rest of the world, or simple users and admin users. Loopback supports that type of system where we say if they're logged in, then they're allowed to do everything, essentially. And they also say, instead of me telling you, you have to lock down creating content and updating and deleting, Loopback says, you know what? You can lock down all the write stuff in just one fell swoop, and all the read stuff in one fell swoop. So if you want to, you can say, yeah, she can create but not update, if you want to. But most of the time you'll say, she can't create, and leave it at that. Or she can't write. So a quick example, I'm gonna lock down my data here real quick. Again, via command line, and again, this is all gonna write to the file. So if I don't want to use the command line, I'll have to. But we'll lock down cats, and just the cat model, all methods of property, all types of access, every user is denied access, and I'm done. If I go back to the file, here, you can see it's actually beginning to write stuff in there. Now I want to say, if you're logged in, no, I'm saying if you're not logged in, I'll give you read access. I'll just run this again. Cat, all methods, but all read methods, all users allowed. So at this point, I've said everything's locked down by default, but anyone can do read stuff. And I could carry this on and say logged in users can do the right stuff. If I try to make a cat now, go ahead and run it. And again, I lost all my cat data. I can tell it to persist on a file if I wanted to. But I should be able to see, we'll do get cats, and we'll get an empty list, but it worked. And if I go to post, it gave me an error saying authorization is required. Now this is what you get out of the box. If you have super weird security rules, you can go in there and pretty much do anything you want. So on Mondays, admins are allowed to edit content. If that's your security rule, then you can do it. Obviously, you're leaving this simple JSON behind, but Loopback gives you control to every aspect of the API process. So when a request comes in to get cats, I can write my custom logic in there. You'll see an example in a few seconds. So at that level, if I want to say Mondays are editing days, then I'm allowed to do that. So in terms of that, that's what I just talked about, remote hooks. There's also an operation hooks, and essentially Loopback separates. I want to know when you do a REST call to get cats, that's a remote hook. Or whenever you create a cat, I want to do something. And that covers either the REST call or a server-side call as well. So Loopback recognizes that sometimes you just care about the remote method coming in, and sometimes you care about all the data uses. You can also create new remote methods, and I'll show a quick example of that. And there's a lot of shortcuts for Express as well. And the example I give, if you use Express, you know it supports loading a folder for static files. They have a little JSON thing where you can say, my static file dir is this. So essentially the team said, hey, we do this a lot in Express, let's put a little shortcut in there for you. So I'm going to show some quick examples of some customizations. I won't run this to save time, I'll do it quickly. Just to kind of show you what they look like. first. So every model actually has two files, and I apologize for not showing the other one before. It has a JSON file and a JS file. The JS file is typically where you'll do your weird custom business logic. In terms of defining a new remote method, it's a two-step process. I define a remote method, In this case, I'm calling it friendly. And if I can get specific, I can say it's a get versus a post. I can say what the path is, so what they would actually see in the API. And then basically, I say what to actually run. In this case, that is the custom logic. And by the way, that cat.find is an example of the backend form system, basically abstracting away the database access. This will do select star from cat where friendly equals true. So essentially, if you guys saw me type that question mark, filter, where, it's a nice, powerful language, but probably not very friendly. I could just add an API called /cat/friendly, and you're good to go. This is also where I could do things like, for example, every time you fetch a cat, I want to change the name. So if a cat has a first and last name, I can make a full name property on the fly. There's also validation. There's a bunch of built-in validation for things like, for example, just saying something is required. You saw me building properties that were string and numeric. You may have wondered, Ray, your cat has a age property that's numeric. How do you do things like make sure it's a valid age? There's a couple of ways of doing that. If I want it to be an integer, that's it. I basically create a rule saying int is true. And because age should be a positive number, I could add in logic to make sure that it is 1 and higher. On top, you can see another example where I'm saying gender has to be within 2 values, and you can go to town and do whatever kind of crazy custom logic you want. For example, no cats that are older than 2 can be friendly. If that's what you want to do, you can do. By the way, another way of doing that kind of friendly shortcut, and I was so proud when I found that, the JSON file actually supports what's called a scope and does the exact same thing. Where I can say, I have a particular where or a particular search shortcut. I can define it in the JSON and skip writing real code at all. I know I'm throwing a lot at you. Kind of the big takeaway is that Loopback is extremely customizable. When I first started using it and I was getting stuff done very quickly, I had the same reaction I have to anything that's quick and easy, is that it's great for a demo, but not good in the real world. What I have found, the more I use Loopback, is that they have realized that in the real world we have custom weird crap, and they have created a plugin, essentially, for every single possible thing that you imagine that you want to customize. They have built a way for you to go in there and customize it. So this is extremely acceptable for a production real app, not just my quick proof of concept for the mobile application. Not that I'm biased at all. So just real quick, so the company is called StrongLoop. A lot of people call the product StrongLoop. StrongLoop is actually a separate product made by the StrongLoop company that ran on top of Loopback. It does a lot more than I'm going to show today, and it was kind of the enterprise commercial aspect. So like a lot of companies, they did the open source work, and they had the commercial product on top of it. What StrongLoop had that may be of interest to you was a visual composer. So what you saw me doing with the command line and the flat files, they had a web-based admin for working with models as well. On top of that, they also did things like process management, so being able to see how much RAM your Node.js app is using, debugging, deployment. I will be honest and say I'm still kind of a Node.js noob, so when it comes to things like stack traces and stuff like that, it's still a little bit up there for me. But there was support for that. What happened, just going to move forward on this real quick, that has moved into another product called API Connect that IBM released in March or so. That kind of takes the loopback and just API stuff in general and adds the kind of boring back-end enterprise stuff on top of it. So what it does You saw me build an API, you saw how fast it was, you know that I can customize it for my weird client needs. Before I take the API and go into production, typically I have to do stuff like, I'm going to make you sign up for it, I'm going to give you a key, I'm going to validate that key every time you call my API, I'm going to give you 1,000 hits a day or so. Nobody wants to write that part. Everybody wants to write the cool cat API and go to town on the mobile app. All that kind of boring management, but kind of crucial, important stuff can be done in API Connect. And there's actually a free tier for this that you can use in production. So it's not like IBM, will tell you how much you'll pay us for our wonderful product. There's a very nice free tier which supports either 10,000 or 50,000 API calls a month, which would definitely handle your first couple months of ramping up. So, more information, docs.strongloop.com. That's actually what the loopback docs are. It's a little bit confusing, but you'll find them there. And any questions? Any more questions, I should say? Yes?
In terms of user attribution, is it possible, is there some kind of built-in mechanism that I could use to guarantee, like if I was going to make a shopping cart where there's a type of object that's an item in a shopping cart, but I want each user to only query and receive items back that are in their shopping cart. Is that something I have to do at a data and query level, like I add the ID of the user, or is there some mechanism that will give me a system-wide invariant that guarantees that I will never see data that was created by a different user?
So your question basically is, can I define an API where I only get my data that I created?
Yeah.
Yes. I didn't show because of time, but absolutely, you can set that up, and that's not hard at all.
And that is some kind of role?
So there is a user model baked in.
Right.
If I had more time for the security demo, I could actually show you creating a new user, logging in. It gives you an access token. That would all be done by a mobile app. But then that access token, when you pass it along, Loopback will automatically know who you are, validate the token, and allow for operations like get all cats that I created. Yes?
Does that security model support Active Directory?
His question was, does that security model support Active Directory? I want to say not out of the box, but because you can do whatever you want to, essentially. You have those hooks in there to say on create, let me do this logic, then you could handle that there. So if Active Directory supported returning a key of some or a header that you're passing in those calls, you can fetch that header, validate, and put it down. Yes?
Are there any kind of add-ons for local caching? If I wanted to cache all cats and then write new cats while I'm in the subway and then I come back out synchronized?
So your question was, is there any add-ons for doing caching locally? By locally, do you mean on the server or on the client?
Client.
So there is an AngularJS library. I have intentionally not used it because I know Angular myself, so I don't be confused by somebody else's. And it's a REST API, so it kind of just works. So there's no caching thing like that. Your own mobile or browser application would have to say, hey, I know I can cache cats for an hour or whatever. So no, not out of the box. I will point out, one of the things I didn't show is that I can actually define an API or a model that points to somebody else's API. So my competitor has Dogs of New York, and they have a public API. I can literally add the Dogs API to my site that just proxies to your site, and all of a sudden I'm like Animal King, right? So you're hitting my APIs, and literally it's just proxying to yours. And in that case, I can do my own caching, the store in case you go offline, stuff like that. Not advocating stealing your partner's businesses. Yes?
You didn't talk about relationships at all. Is there anything
That's right.
you can describe on that?
So they work. They tend to be non-trivial in the cleanup part, but when I define it, and I can actually do it via command line or via the file, it will handle creating APIs. So I can say, if cats had owners, there's an automatic API for cat/5/owners, and it would get the owners for cat instance 5, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So once you define it, you get the REST APIs automatically.
Does it support nested objects at all?
What's that?
Nested objects?
Sure.
You get a cat and receive in that cat object a list of its owners and the same in one REST call.
Oh, so you want to say when I get the cat, get all the pets, all the owners at the same time?
Right. So I mean, because the way you're describing it is fully normalized, where there's absolutely no nesting. But one of the nice things about NoSQL and REST APIs is when you can have some of these smaller objects nested within your parent object.
So my answer to anything about loopback is that if it's not baked in, you can definitely do it. So you saw how I defined a remote method. So I could define like a full cat that would definitely do what you want. My only hesitation is there a built-in automatic way of doing it? I haven't seen it, but I will check into that for you. But I can see like not wanting to have to refetch that data.
That brings up another interesting question, which is, is the creation API itself extensible such that you could create a mechanism in loopback to do this?
So you can create, so if a cat has an owner, when you create the cat, I know you can pass the sub-object to create the owner as well. And I had more to say about that, but my screensaver distracted me. Yeah, so that I'm fairly sure that's already baked in. And then obviously if it's not baked in, you can build your own remote method called make full object, where you expect all that.
I mean, if I want to do like a new SLC command, like SLC food, my new command, like is the API itself, is the command line API itself extensible so that I can add new functionality to it? I'm going to do like SLC new embedded object.
I'm going to say no, but that should all be up on GitHub actually. So you can do a PR and add that, and I would encourage you, go ahead and add that tonight. I haven't seen people doing that, but I assume so. And it's all file-based in the end, so you can also make your own shell script to do the same thing. Anybody else? If not, thank you very much, and come see me if you have more questions.
Welcome, everybody. So this is the second phase of our evening for tonight, and we have, I just want to do roll call. We have CleverTap in the house. IQID, are you guys in the house? Great. Lively, Brad's in the house. Shareflo, are you guys in the house? Cool. Tapt, it's Tapt, all right. And then TeddyMozart, cool, all right. So basically this is 5 minutes, show, live demo, slideware, etc. Just to explain your product. And let's see what we have, and then hold. You can ask a couple, we'll do like 1 or 2 questions per company, but hold your questions for later. You can talk to the founders. And so hopefully over the next 30 minutes we can get through the 6 companies. So up on deck is Arkady from CleverTap. Go ahead.
How you doing, everybody? It's great to be at my first Mobile Monday in New York City. If I put it down, will everybody hear me?
No, probably not, but
Yeah, okay, I'll speak louder. So again, my name is Arkady Friedman. I'm the product evangelist for CleverTap. And just a little bit of background about CleverTap. CleverTap is been around for about 3 years, born in Mumbai and then kind of raised in Silicon Valley. We're backed by Sequoia and Excel Ventures. We deal with about 2,200 companies right now. We're on about 750 million handsets globally. We're an SDK, basically you plug into your mobile handset, into your mobile app, and you can see basically who's using your app, how they're using your app. You can do clever campaigns, and I'll show you, kind of walk you through what that looks like. One of the kind of differentiators between us and several other competitors out there is that our pricing and our personalization and kind of real-time segmentation. So in terms of pricing, we're free for less than 1 million events that we're tracking on a monthly basis. One of the largest free tiers out there. And this is the dashboard. If you create a free account, you can basically see our simulated e-commerce store that we call the Fairy Store, and you can see everything that's happening, real time. We're actually going to be launching our real-time segmentation next month, which is really exciting. It's another thing that nobody else is doing. But you can see basically what's happening, today with your app, how many engaged users you have, what they're doing. You can see uninstall data. You can also see, you can also create what we call clever campaigns. So these are 6 campaigns that can create in-app adoption. They can increase adoption rates, create better engagements, prevent attrition, all kind of turnkey solutions that you can use. And then if you wanted to create kind of unique, customized push notifications, for example, to segment an audience, everybody can do something that's now, everybody can do something that's on a specific date. Very few can do it on a user action, and almost nobody can do it now on a user inaction. So that's something that we do uniquely, is something that you did and didn't do. So added to cart, charged, and maybe didn't charge within 2 minutes. So you go next, create your campaign, and you can do it across platform, Android, iOS, Windows as well. You can create your content in there. You can personalize it with any kind of data that you wanted to put in there, depending on what events you're tracking. And you can see that data real time. Another great thing is that we're focused on users. So if you want to segment an audience based on, again, actions and actions, added to cart, and then maybe didn't charge, you wanted to take a look at who those users are. So you can see real-time profiles based on data that we're collecting either through social sign-on, through your own personal data, and you can use that information for segmentation. You can also create unique web messaging. We're integrated into web, email notifications, in-app notifications. You can take a look at uninstall data, which is unique to us, based on specific campaigns that you're running. So again, feel free to play around with this. It's free to use. We're really focused on startups. If you're a startup and you have under 1 million events, it's a no-brainer to install something, and we hope you install CleverTap. So great to meet all of you. Feel free to talk to me after the event. I'm happy to give you my card and walk you through how to use it.
Cool.
Hey everybody, my name is Eric Schwartzel. I'm the CEO and founder of a company called IQID. What IQID is, it's your internet ID. And I founded it based on this principle that when we're growing up, we're trained not to talk to strangers. But if we had trust between everybody, things would be a lot more efficient. So what I did was I created an application called IQID that builds trust between 2 parties. And today, I'm going to kind of show you kind of the end slide very, very first, so that way you kind of understand like the whole thought process and what we're doing with the application. So the goal for today is to match buyers with sellers, and I'll kind of explain what that all means as I progress through the slides. So today we're going to do an experiment. If you're interested, download the application and become a buyer of coffee. And what we're going to do is we're going to match sellers. I'm a seller of coffee. We're going to use that as an experiment. So what my goal is here today is to actually bring buyers and sellers together. It's called IQID. It's iOS and it's Android. And it's also HTML5. So let's start with you. You saw a good deal on Craigslist or eBay or a newspaper. And you saw that it was a really, really good deal, but you didn't trust the person at all. You were like, these Bruce Springsteen tickets, I want to go, $300, but I have no idea who this guy is. I'm not going to do this deal because I don't trust this person. And trust is the #1 reason why person-to-person transactions aren't taking place more frequently. But it's a huge, huge deal. Last year was about a $25 billion economy, and it's expected to be about $300 billion by 2025. So what we do is we take your government ID, we digitize it, and then we create a shareable URL that you can then send to somebody else. And that URL also has your trust score. And your trust score is based on your social networks, your government ID, and your location. So this is what it looks like. This is the iOS version. This is me. It shows you how long I've been an IQIDer, how many people have actually looked at my profile. The trust score, my trust score again is based on my verifications that include my phone number, my email, LinkedIn, eBay, and Facebook. And then this is the part that the new part that we just introduced, which is keyword matching. And I'll explain that at the end. And then we also have payments built in. Currently we have PayPal, but we're looking at other types of payment processors. And this is what it looks like when you receive my profile. So my profile shows how many verifications I have. It's got my digital business card, which shows my phone number, and this is all optional. You can put in whatever you want there. It shows how many LinkedIn connections I have, how many Facebook friends, and then what government IDs have been verified, including my passport, driver's license, and ID card. It also shows you my IP address and what country I'm in. And then this is the enterprise version. So what we're doing is we're now also white labeling it. So the top left doesn't show IQID. It also shows different enterprise, whatever the company is. So now we're launching keyword matching. And the way keyword matching is you put in a keyword, so like I suggested earlier, which was coffee. It then asks if you want to buy coffee, or if you want to sell coffee, or if you're just interested in talking about coffee. So me, you can see I'm interested in beer, marketing, sushi, and coffee, I guess. And then this is how we ask. It's really simple. You just say buyer, seller, or interested in. And then we geofence you. You can do a geofence of 300 feet or up to 3 miles. And then this is what the profile of matching is, what it actually looks like. So I did this right before I came here. I did coffee, and I got a keyword match with this guy over here. And it shows you the profile. It asks if you want to match. I say yes, and then I'll get the full person's profile. Both parties actually have to say yes to get a match. And then we're also looking at doing other types of products. So potentially not just matching with keyword interests, but also with products. And then what we're doing, we're launching officially at the Money 2020 show, which is in October. And this is us. Again, IQID, if you're interested in matching with me, I'm selling coffee, and you can put in the keyword coffee to buy. Thanks.
And we have visuals. Can you hear me?
Yes.
In the back, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Good. All systems go. Okay, so hi, I'm Brad Mel, co-founder of Lively. My co-founder, Jonah Brucker-Cohen, is right there. And, you know, everything we saw tonight and everything you see all around you is on screens, right? Screens like this. LCD signs, digital signs, projectors, everywhere you go. We live in a world of screens. But the thing is, screens are generally one way. I've got this on the screen, you're looking at it, but you're not really participating. So the idea with Lively is to make it interactive. So you can participate, and also so it can be a collective experience, a collaborative experience. So for a group like this, to all collectively, collaboratively interact with what's on the screen. We think that would be a little bit more lively. So this is a web app, and we are in trials now, and I'll just give you a run through. So the premise is very simple, that the best way for a professor, a marketer, a hospital, a retailer to engage with an audience is just by asking the question, a really relevant question. So with our platform, within about 10 seconds, you can pose a question that appears on the screen and have people engage with answering it. So this question is, what are your biggest healthcare issues this year? Right? It could be any question against any media or any visual imagery. I'm going to show you a video, and then we'll get to a live demo. Okay, right? So people are texting to this unique code. Someone's saying IT infrastructure for the office. Someone else is saying front office efficiencies. This is just a short little clip, but it would go on and on. And then every participant gets a text message back that's customizable by the sponsoring organization. So there are sponsorship business models with conferences, trade shows, right, trade show booths, retail, hospitals, anywhere where there's a captive audience of people looking at a screen. We've got many different modes. This is a 3D animation mode. So the question is, how do you engage attendees at your events? Someone is saying, asking relevant questions. Someone else is saying, apps can be clunky with interactivity, right? Everyone sees what everyone's thinking and feeling in the room, and we're all sort of participating. Now, there are lots of polling softwares out there, but what's different about this is visually engaging. This is actually two-way. You get a message back from the system, and it's actually pretty fun. So here's another mode, which is called dynamic images. So in this one, and actually we've done this at birthday parties and music venues and universities. What food do you wish you were eating right now? People are texting to this code, and in real time we're generating images relating to what people are thinking and feeling. It's text message based. Now, the big thing obviously is in mobile is beacons and mobile apps. But guess what? In a live setting like this, people can't get to a mobile app. They have to download something. With SMS, we send you a link where you can download the app. Or you can go to a website, or you can go to a promotion or any other web page. So our backend is quite simple. In about 10 seconds, you type in the question that you want to ask people. Like, what do you hope to learn today? You set the duration. You can ask multiple questions. Type it in, and then you create your session. It's web-based, so people not in our physical space could be answering the question as well. Used for webinars or remote viewing and so forth. I'll take you through some more features in a sec, but let's just do a live demo. Let's text to the screen. The phone number to text to is 27002. So take out your phone, everybody. I know you all have phones. Take out your phone and text to the phone number 27002. And text the code REMX to that phone number. You're going to text to join the session, and then after you text REMX to the phone number, then start commenting. What kind of food? You guys are hungry? It's it's getting late. So someone's saying French fries, pizza. Each incoming message appears on the screen. It's front and center for 3 to 4 seconds, and then it goes off. Someone else is saying dessert. Any brand can be embedded in the experience. Lively is up there right now, but this could be your logo. Since this is video, this could be any visual background appearing right here. It could be a motion background. It could be any static imagery. So any brand, any image, any imagery. And those of you who are participating, whoa, food. Yeah, cool stuff. That's cool. You know, if we have time, I'll get to another. Grapes. All right. Here's another question. What do you like best about New York City? Keep it clean. I should mention that we've got a filter. In real time, we block out 14 million off-color words and comments. So the family,
Do you substitute them with like love or like love you?
Love you. Yeah.
What if someone put like a string back, like 3 or 4 words? Would you just not post it, or?
Once you punch in the code, what do you mean by string back?
Because I sent like a sentence and I didn't see it pop up. Do you only do single words?
No, so it's full strings.
Okay.
Maybe it might have been a typo or
Yeah.
in the code or something. Yeah, but it's full sentences. So, what do you like best about New York City? The subway. Who likes the subway? Who said that? But what happens is it's pretty fun because any speaker could use any comment as a jumping off point to take the. Wow! Someone is going to get extra bonus points tonight, particularly if you video this and you show it to your wife. So, just want to quickly show you some of the features on the back end. Let's see, the subway. Yeah, right. We've got a pretty full product roadmap. There's a lot of features and functionality coming. But just very quickly, you pick your theme, your visual look and feel. You can upload your video background, any branded video, take anything from YouTube. Any video can be made interactive with Lively. So I'll say it again. Any video could be made interactive with Biden. We'll turn it into a URL and then be able to have SMS messages on top of that. Filtered words, there's 14 million words, as I said, that are blocked out in real time. And then if you want additional words to block out, you just simply, like the name of your competitor, you punch that in. The dynamic image generator on off, you simply upload your logo, upload your background image, and you customize the response. So if this were in a movie theater and we said, you know, get free fudge, we could say get free fudge on the screen, or win an iPad. We simply type that in, and then on the screen it says text your comments and win an iPad, right? Which really works well for drawings and trade show booths and so forth. So the URL is livelyevent.com. We're in trials now. You're all welcome to use it, and I'll be around if you have any questions or comments.
We're ready to go. So I'm Joel Palatinkel. I'm the CEO of Shareflo, and I'm here to talk to you guys about a major problem. So one of the biggest problems is that $1.2 trillion is wasted on unused items yearly. In addition, things cost 35 to 80% more when they're purchased brand new. Whoops. So Shareflo provides a solution by allowing you to ask for what you need with the tap of one button. This is called a Shareflo blast request. In addition, you can talk to people nearby, and those people can immediately respond with the product to rent out or sell directly to you. This allows you to have earned income from renting and selling your products out, or you can get cost savings by getting things for a lot cheaper from people that you know nearby. In addition, there's a reduction of clutter, and everyone has a trust score within the app, so everyone verifies their identity before they exchange any money. So let's look at the market that we have here. So these are a couple people on my team. They're on our growth team here, and we're at Columbia University. One of our biggest markets is a $417 billion market in consumer shopping for universities. So as you see here, $166.8 billion is just spent on consumer electronics and discretionary products. And then this is the breakdown of all the other expenses that college students spend. So I'm going to talk about our hyperlocal rental and sales app in a second. Let me get this out of the way. So let's talk about the blast request. So the blast request right now has a 5-mile radius. Within 1 mile, within 1 square mile in New York City, there's 71,000 people. So with the blast request, with a 5-mile radius, you have the potential to reach 360,000 people. And as you see, with the size of New York City, that's a great way to just expand and connect with people with the tap of one button. So we're working with me. Let me expand this. Oops.
Use the arrows.
There we go. So a couple more screenshots of the product. So with one tap, you can ask for what you need. Once you do that, it shows up in the nearby request feed, and you can also see what other people need. When you tap on one of the buttons, you can immediately respond, make an offer, and then if you tap the other button to the right, that's a trending feed. You can see all the products that are available to either rent or buy from that person with one tap. Furthermore, we have a payment technology integrated already, so we can hold the money if you're doing renting in an escrow payment system. You can also ask a question before you make the transaction. And then finally, everybody gets reviewed based on their behavior within the app and based on their reputation within the app as well. So now I'd like to talk about another product that we have called Shareflo Trust. Shareflo Trust is a proprietary trust algorithm. Okay, here we go. So with Shareflo Trust, we haven't launched this yet, but this is going to be a standalone web app, but it's also going to be integrated into our app as a single sign-on. But as you can see, we can pull in your reviews from Shareflo or just standalone on Shareflo Trust, but then you can also build your reputation on social media platforms, and we're also pulling in data from Uber, Airbnb, and eBay to roll up to a trust score. So that'll be integrated within our app shortly, and we'll be platform agnostic, so we'll be on the web too. So later on, you can just kind of log in and see other people within your community and connect with them as well. So something cool, in a couple weeks, we're going to be launching at a launch party this Thursday. Feel free to talk to me and I'll give you guys an invite. I'd love for you guys to come and celebrate our launch with us. But something that's cool is in 2 weeks, we're going to be piloting a personal assistant to answer every single request that comes out, and we're going to offer free delivery in Manhattan. And right now, I'd like to start a contest. If you download the app, if you either create a listing by just pressing the plus sign and listing a product, or if you create a blast request, first place will get an Apple product. This could be anything. It could be an iPad, it could be an iPhone. It's a mystery, but whoever creates the best blast request or item will get an Apple product, and the second place will get a cash prize. And that winner is going to be announced at our launch party. We're partnering with General Assembly. So you can go to this link, or you can just Google Shareflo launch party, and that's how you can find the link. And I can do a quick demo here. If anybody has already done a blast request, we'll see it in real time. Oops. No upgrade. So here's a couple products that are available. Yeah. I found it. And then as you see, here's a great guitar. I can rent it for 25 bucks, or I can buy it. If I tap on this, I can ask a question before I make the transaction. And then if I'm ready to rent, payment's already integrated. So you just pick the date, the time. Credit card's already integrated. Well, once you integrate the credit card, once I hit accept and pay, the person on the other end will get a push notification. They'll get an opportunity to accept my transaction, and then we'll just meet in person to handle the transaction, and then blast requests. So it's literally 2 buttons. It's super simple. Here's trending. You choose the other button, and then these are all the nearby requests. So all you have to do is hit one button, ask for what you need, and you'll get almost 500,000 people that know what you need.
What are going to be your fees for posting?
So it's free to post. We just have a transaction fee for every transaction, just like Airbnb.
Yeah, and who's paying? Is it the renter is paying, or is it the seller, or who is?
Sure. So the purchaser pays the money, and then there's a small service fee to handle the transaction. Yep.
So how do you guys coordinate the logistics of the I mean, you said you have delivery, but what if they want to meet up or do something?
Sure, yeah. So to clarify with delivery, so we'll actually respond to the blast request to provide the supply that's needed to supplement the marketplace that's there. So the people that will be handling renters and sellers and people that are customers and owners, those people will just meet like you do with Craigslist. But the added value is that we handle payments, so you don't have to give somebody cash in an alley. And we also handle a lot of the trust algorithms and the reputation. So you have a reduction of fraud. So yeah.
Does this will this eventually cover services as well? And is there an Android app?
We don't have Android right now. We're on iOS. We're going to look at some of the data. We're starting out with products, but we've looked at some other verticals like dating. Before you go on a date with somebody, you probably want to see the reputation, services. If you're a lawyer, maybe have a counter that automatically calculates how much your legal rate is. So that's definitely a vertical that we're looking at. But we want to look at some of the data first and look at how we want to do our product roadmap.
So Shareflo and Shareflo Trust, are they 2 different applications, 2 different communities? So they basically, Shareflo Trust you can give it another name, right?
Sure. So Shareflo Trust will be, when it launches, it'll just be a website that's mobile optimized. And then it's going to take some effort to make it single sign-on so that you can log in and authenticate within Shareflo Trust or your app. And then we need to migrate that into our trust algorithm in our app. Right now in our app, we're just doing some social verification and we're doing reputations. So we want to migrate that in, and then also, maybe one day provide an API. But really, it's just kind of another cool product that we'll have to just build trust and use some machine learning to be able to roll up a high-level trust score. Sure. Anything else?
All right.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Here we go. Hey guys, we're Tapt, T-A-P-T. I'm Andrew, I'm the CTO of Tapt. Got a couple of buddies back there. So basically what we are is we're a social media exclusively for college students. We took all the parents, we banned them. We took all the professors, we banned them. We took all the faculty, we banned them. Not allowed on the app. So basically, our app started out, we launched in February. We launched with 3 schools, CCNY, Queens College, and Baruch College. And through that, we've gained 3,000 students, 3,000 users, well, they're all students. And we have 5 million impressions. So there's a lot of activity and engagement that's happening on the app. So we're looking right now, well, actually, I'm going to dive into the demo. I think you get a better gist of everything. So you have some of these posts here. Someone's talking about dating is cool, but we read stuffed crust pizza. Oh, cool. Stuffed crust. And then there's a couple of different posts that they have here. People are posting about summer. We just finished off our first school year. So I guess these are all the students that are active right now in the summertime. They're all talking about what they're doing. You can was already interested somewhere elsewhere. If you want to look at a post, you can peek on it by just holding down onto it. And then if you hold it down long enough, it'll open up in a full screen mode. There's also a hot section. So when you're surfing the feed, you can have a look at whatever's new or whatever has the most likes or likes of fire. I'm trying to take some spin on it.
And is it only my school? I get to see only the students in my school?
Yes. So for this feed, the first tab is your campus. So for this case, it is CCNY. And then on this section is the global section. So we keep track of, we have a algorithm, a script that pulls in all the words, sort of like how Twitter does it. You don't even have to write a hashtag. It pulls in all the words that the users are talking about. We can look at what's most popular right now on the app. So we take that information and we create these trends off of it. Some are automatically generated, others that we put up because we know someone's going to be talking about Game 7, the finals, someone's talking about fathers, Father's Day passed. And and then inside the globally trending, you can look at all the posts that have to deal with that trend. There is an inbox for messages. There you can add friends on the top left. There's updates section. And then there's your profile that you have. And then there's a nice create a screen. Hello, everybody. And you can upload a photo. You can upload a video. When you take a photo or video, you can say like, hey, you can write a caption on it. Currently, that's our caption format. Looking at other ways that we can differentiate look cool, but allow people to still caption on the photo. If you don't want to do a photo or a video, you can write a status. And and then you post it to the feed. Oh, so one really cool feature about our app that allows people to, that generates a lot of conversation is you can post anonymously onto our feed. So let's say you don't feel comfortable about saying something, you post it anonymously, and then you can converse about it. Well, let's say somebody really connects with you, you can reveal yourself on the post to show them hey, oh, this was me, I said this really funny thing. Or you're hosting an event, but you don't want, if nobody shows, you don't want to feel the guilt of having an event that no one showed up to, so you can do that too. But yeah, there's anonymous feature, and also, if you don't want hate mail coming in from anonymous commenters, you can comment on a post anonymously, oh, hey, what's up? You can turn anonymity on while talking to it, but the poster has the ability to turn anonymous comments off, so then it keeps out all the hate mail that some people might receive. So that's the app. That's Tapt. Right now, we're looking see the platform we've developed and the login system that we have to verify college students. They have to sign in with their college email address, and then they verify that college email address. And then we have, as we said, we have the faculty of the school, band, professors. You can report people if you see them and you think that they're a parent or a professor and they've gotten their way onto the app. You can report them for so. We're looking to develop, we're in the midst of developing an API that will allow people to log in with Tapt accounts to their applications, because now, when you log in with Facebook onto an app, it's really, everyone has Facebook. There's no way to section off and say, oh, I don't want these sort of people to come onto the app. So now that these are all verified college students, an app could launch and say, oh, wow, I need a platform that will support this verification process, and we were looking to follow through with that. So that's Tapt. If you have any questions, just hit me up. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Carlton, and I am the founder and CEO of TeddyMozart, a startup that's connecting families to share voice memories across generations. A little bit about me. So I was born in Jamaica, and I grew up listening to stories about how my grandparents met, the conversations they had by the river, the dances they attended in the countryside, and often my grandmother would sing songs to me that reflected these happy memories. Music tells stories when words can't. It inspires us. It is the first language an infant learns. If you have ever been told a story or been sung to by an adult, or as a kid, you know that it's a great feeling, and you know about the special bond it creates. Sadly, I missed the opportunity to record my grandmother's singing voice, so I can later share it with my kids. But I don't want families to experience the same fate. Oftentimes, family members are in a different location or country. Songs and stories get lost in translations. And solutions on the market that look like this: very fragmented, scattered. Apps today are not designed to store your content forever. They're not designed for you. So we're building a solution that connects families across geographies, across time, because we're not going to be around forever. We're building a solution that preserves your voice memories so that you can store them forever, and simultaneously create a better listening experience for young children. And we're doing that through the combination of a music streaming app and Bluetooth plus noise speakers, so family members can easily record and store your family traditional songs, lullabies, and stories from anywhere in the world, and share them from generation to generation with young children. Now your child will fall asleep at the sound of your voice through a plush toy, even when you're not there, or smile listening to grandma sing a song or tell a story long after she's gone. We're even making this experience better by adding educational content provided by our partners. This educational content will reside in our public library, and then will be curated according to these playlists. So you'll have songs for sleep time, nap time, bath time, and more. Millennial parents prove to be our best target in a $5.6 billion connected toy space. They're our best target because they love to buy apps for their kids, and they pay more for connected toys. They've told us, through our 50+ interviews conducted of millennial parents, they've told us that they're willing to pay between $41 and $60 per connected toy, with 23% of them willing to pay up to $80. That's why our business model is very simple. $59 for a high quality, very soft plush toy, plus a premium app model, which includes $5.99 for extra storage of your content, plus in-app purchases of premium content provided by our partners. Currently, we have a team of 6 that's very experienced, combined 70 years industry experience. Myself, I have 10 years of wireless technology strategic partnership experience. Myself with Vanessa, who's located in China, we have a combined 10 years of hardware experience because, frankly, hardware is hard. You can't spell hardware without hard. It's difficult. We have an internal software engineer. He's full stack, works on video streaming and audio streaming applications. We have head of research, marketing, former American Express. Shelly Dachel, director of design. She's former Universal Music Group. And Shamal Sen is our advisor. He sits on the Wall Street Advisory Technology Board. And we're building a platform that scales, one that's very secure. What makes us different is that we're the only company that's focused on posterity, storing your content forever. We're building a platform that allows for easy cloud storage of recorded content with Spotify-like playback features. And we have relationships in China that allows us to squeeze out at least 60% margins. And I'd like to give you a quick demo of how TeddyMozart works today. So it's very easy. All you have to do is just squeeze the hat to turn on the Bluetooth speaker.
Hi, I'm ready. Ready for a connection.
Please excuse the accent.
Was that your co-founder's voice?
So all you have to do is just connect via Bluetooth, which I am already. And the beauty of TeddyMozart is that you can use your existing favorite apps. So if you like Spotify or Pandora, you can just easily play music right from those apps. So now I'm playing from Spotify. And when your kid outgrows this, at least you have a speaker that you can enjoy. But with the app that allows you to store your own content, it's all you have to do is just launch the app at the tap of a button and just play a song. Now this is a song recorded by grandma for her grandson. Thank you very much. I'm Carlton, and my company is TeddyMozart.
Any questions for Carlton?
Can, is this the only speaker that can pair with the app, or can you pair with another Bluetooth speaker?
Any Bluetooth speaker.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So from our interviews that we conducted, we learned that a lot of people love the combination of the app and the toy, but there are people that have their high-end, like Bose speakers, and they love the app, but they want to connect with their existing home audio.
Very nice presentation. How did you find your collaborators in China, and what did you outsource there? Was it engineering or software development?
It's so Vanessa and I worked previously at a hardware startup called Fawn. So at the time we manufactured Wi-Fi routers. So I convinced her to come on board TeddyMozart. She's located there. She speaks Cantonese and Mandarin. And we've optimized 2 factories to develop the plush toys that you see there.
Are you specifically focused on teddy bears or plush toys?
Not at all. This is going to change over time. Right now, this is how we're going to market. You can actually pre-order your own copy, your own product on our website, TeddyMozart.com. But we're looking into different varieties of plush toys, and even looking into hologram technologies to integrate cognitive abilities, hologram, and even speech recognition.
I know Shamal.
Oh, you do know Shamal?
I just texted.
Oh, really? That's my partner.
I know that too.
Okay. Well, great. We'll talk later. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
All right, everybody. Well, that wraps it up for all the demos and presentation content for tonight. You guys feel free to hang out and mingle for a while. I think we're here till 9. We'll have lights out in about 40 minutes. Thank you once again. Don't forget, 2 weeks from tonight at Tumblr, we'll have mobile growth and paid acquisition best practices. So if you're interested in spending money to buy downloads, you'll hear from some awesome agencies and some folks in the industry. Thank you.